Hello and welcome back to another Coffee and Heroes podcast as we bring you the first preview show of 2026. This is
Oof.
the December books. Are they the December books? No, they're not. That's a misprint right there. That says December. These are the January books. DC have to mess up every so often just to try and keep up with Marvel. Anyway, these
Oof.
are the previews books for January, predominantly for stuff coming out this coming March. So, going to be taking you through them today. Of course, your host Alan from Coffee and Heroes. And join Mr. Keith Miller, of course. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you. It's nice to be recording on an afternoon, isn't it? Leaves the
It is
evening
indeed.
free.
It is indeed. Leaves us plenty of time to do our various activities in the evening. A little bit more energy during the day as well. Getting
Yeah,
old and all that.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And I mean, what else would you be doing on this rainy January afternoon?
well, I have to say we're recording this on New Comic Book Day on the Wednesday, and this morning was crazy. At one point, it was almost like a free comic book day. It was so
Oh,
busy this
really?
morning for about an hour solid.
Uh-huh.
We took in three new pull lists this morning. We were selling big ticket items. We were selling omnibuses. We were selling manga sets. We were
Brilliant.
on all sorts. So it was a really busy day. So usually I leave about 12:30. Chris came in, but the queue was about seven people long when Chris came in. I thought I'll not leave this just to him.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah, yeah. That
maybe
was
stick
very,
around.
very decent of you. Very decent of
Yeah,
you.
so it was about 1 o'clock by the time I left. But and then of course it was like nothing had ever happened. There was two people in the store.
Of course. Good
Every
stuff. That's
every
great.
yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, the start of the new year has been great for the store. We had a really busy Christmas, and a good start to the new year. And in general, the comic industry looks in a really healthy position going into 2026, which we'll certainly get into through the books here. DC are probably in their hottest run in years. Marvel have maybe had to do a little bit of reflecting, but they look like they're coming back with some strong number ones, a new ongoing series, a new limited series, which we'll certainly get into. The one side is we have noticed in the last couple of previews ones that maybe the independent stuff there's not quite as much new stuff coming out as there has been, but there are of course tons of great ongoing series at the moment.
Yeah, that's the
Uh,
trick.
s- so maybe some of them have to end before the new ones come in.
Yeah, and I mean, whenever you think about it, regardless of what the big two are doing, the strongest stuff that's happening at the minute is still the Ghost Machine, the Energon universe, generator stuff. So as you say, just sort of continuing
Well,
ongoing stuff.
this is a whole other conversation, but no, I think the best stuff is DC at the moment. We keep talking about doing our best of 2025 podcast, and for me, DC was definitely Publisher of the Year last year. Everything
Mm.
from compacts to absolutes to all into, but we're not going to go into it here because
Yeah.
that will be a long tangent, and we're just going to jump in. This is purely an information podcast. This is purely get the info out there, let you guys know what's coming out soon that we're looking forward to and sort of everything in between. I mean, we should say, of course, we've got our trusty previews books here. We got DC Connect and the Marvel previews book. I order in about 30 of each of these now, so I have them up at the counter. They're piled there. They're free to take. You guys can be more well informed outside of course, this podcast and whatever else wherever else you find that information. And of course, there's always copies in the store as well. Independent stuff, we talk about it every month now. It's a little harder to find, but we just direct you towards leagueofcomicgeeks.com, who have good detailed submission or solicitations for each individual publisher.
Yeah, very, very
So,
good stuff.
so shout out to them because we do avail of their resources. But yeah, no, in terms of getting into the books, with the DC book, we're being introduced to something called DC Next Level. So this is essentially the next sort of spate of new number one titles that are going to be coming out in 2026. As I say, they're enjoying tremendous success with the Absolute books. I'm delighted to say they're still not expanding that universe. I love that it's just six books at the moment. I don't want it to go to 10 books and 12 books. I think six is a great manageable amount. And to be honest, we just see it keep growing. I was in today, three new people signed up for Absolute Bat. There's 130 people in Absolute Batman. That's crazy. But what I like about DC Next Level, and we'll certainly get into it in a moment, is that they're given maybe lesser, not necessarily lesser known characters, but lesser treated characters are
Mm.
starting to get their own books. They've brought in some great creators to work on them. There's three books in this month's DC Connect, and I believe there's going to be a few new ones in the next one as well. So DC Next Level is definitely their new initiative. It's got the tagline "Bold talent, extraordinary characters, unexpected visions." Outside of that, the DC Universe continues, the strongest it's been in years, as I say. We're going to have the likes of DCKO coming to an end. We have jumping on points for the Absolute books. We have jumping on for the main books. And of course, we have what is sure to be, and I'm sure you'll agree, Keith, the biggest book of the year as my favorite wrestling promotion crosses paths with the
Yeah.
DC Universe, which we will go into in a moment also. So yeah, everything looking good in the DC book, and of course it's a bit of a flip book this month as well, as there's an advance sort of solicit for another DC Marvel crossover event after the
Yes, indeed.
success of Batman Deadpool next year, and Keith will be delighted to see that the Merc with a Mouth is nowhere near this one. But what
Oh
is
dear.
happening in the Marvel book?
Well, March of 2026 is looking like one of those Marvel months where the next big thing, love it or hate it, is already sort of kicking in the door and getting ready to land in your local comic book shop. The road to Chip Zdarsky's Armageddon is hitting the gas with Wolverine Weapons of Armageddon #2 and Captain America #8. Um, so obviously we're moving towards that. There's a wee bit of a hint that Sentry might be a big part of this, but and that would make a lot of sense. But let's see what's happening. Over at the in the larger line, there's a lot of headline moments. Jed McKay's Avengers comes to an end in #36. Paul Jenkins returns for the already mentioned Sentry #1. Paul Jenkins was the creator of the Sentry, so I'm kind of excited about that. Daredevil #1 launches an unprecedented era in Hell's Kitchen with a new threat named Omen. And even the sort of more sort of one-shotty special projects are riding high with Fantastic Four First Foes. So that is, if you remember, wasn't it the Fantastic Four First Steps?
Mhm.
One shot that takes place in the Fantastic Four movie universe. This is much the same, expanded on that First Steps film universe. And we've got some Godzilla goodness, that which managed to escape from IDW, which is all Godzilla this month, in Godzilla Infinity War #2, and that's going full
Well,
cosmic.
that's
And
because they needed to do that fantastic title of Infinity Roar,
of
and they
course they did.
probably
Of
couldn't have
course
got
they
the right
did.
sets for IDW. Had to do that through Marvel.
And more widely, there's a lot of shake-ups all around. You're in for a big meal there. So we've got Alias Red Band, again, those Red Band books in the bag for slightly more violent content. That's bringing Jessica Jones back with Grizzly Murders and Typhoid Mary in the mix. X-Men United #1 opens the doors of Grey Matter Lane as opposed to Grey Malkin Lane. And the X line keeps the pressure on with Uncanny X-Men 25, on X-Men #26, 27, launching Danger Room. And then in Spider-Man, we've got the Death Spiral crossover with Venom. That keeps spiraling in Amazing Spider-Man 23 to 25 and Venom 2255. The Ultimate line is barreling towards the cliff with Endgame #4 plus Ultimates 22 and 23. And #1 energy is showing up in Wonder Man #1, which is associated with the new Disney Plus series, and Moonstar #1 coming out as part of the Shadows of Tomorrow X-Men line. So a lot going on, a lot being positioned on the board for the next big thing, which is I guess Armageddon.
Yeah, definitely barreling towards that. I mean, you know me when it comes to events and so forth. I've maybe been a little bit, reluctant for them in the last couple of years because
100%.
how many times can you hear everything's going to change and the whole universe is not
Yeah.
ready for this? But DCKO I've been absolutely loving, and I'm hoping this is Marvel's equivalent. And I've every faith it will be. Chip
Yeah.
Zdarsky leading the way there
Yeah,
with that.
absolutely. I mean,
Uh,
his last event was Devil's Reign,
awesome.
which was a great
Yeah.
event. So this is taken in seems to be taken in the wider universe rather than just Daredevil. So, fingers crossed, but yeah, some good stuff.
Oh, fingers crossed indeed. I mean, yeah, we've loads to get to in the DC and Marvel books, particularly strong months for both, which is maybe then a little bit lucky. As I say, that the independent stuff is maybe a little less so this month. We've picked out a few different bits and pieces, some facsimiles for some big issues that I know people will definitely be interested in. There's a trade paperback out through Image that was possibly my indie book of the year last year. Again, we'll get on to that. We've got more Energon crossover goodness happening as well. One of Keith's favorite pulp heroes jumping into the IDW
Oh.
classics. We've got perhaps the end of an era for a certain bunch of cats who love thunder. And it wouldn't be a Coffee and Heroes podcast unless we mentioned Conan the Barbarian. So
Bicrom.
we will not disappoint you. We will get to that very soon. But yeah, we'll kick things off as we always do with the DC book. And as I say, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see the DC Connect book here. And of course, we're going to get into those books, but the biggest title this month is undoubtedly on the flip side, and it is the Big Blue Boy Scout and everyone's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man colliding on what is the 50th anniversary of the original book. Did of
Yeah,
course come out in a glorious facsimile edition recently, oversized, pure retro. Loved the
yeah,
art.
brilliant.
Uh,
That was
Pure fur color goodness.
so good. I mean, I bought that. I bought the original DC, Marvel DC Omnibus. Marvel versus DC Omnibus, which included that story. I was aware that it included that story, but I still picked up the Treasury edition of the original Superman Spider-Man crossover, which was just beautifully reproduced, newsprint paper. The initial introductions by Carmine and Stan, just absolutely fantastic stuff. So it's great to see that
Time
being
capsule.
yeah, it's great to see that being revisited as part of the DC Marvel crossover. So
So
this is looking good.
are you double dipping for the same story, Keith, after giving me grief a couple hours ago?
Oh well, no, I was. It's a very different,
Again,
very
whole other
different thing. Yeah,
whole other tangent we could go on, but we're not
than
going to do
your.
that. But yeah, this is gonna be done in the exact same way Batman Deadpool was. So you're gonna have one book from DC, which is gonna be the DC character's name first in the title. So this one will be Superman, Spider-Man, and then 2 months down the lane in the Marvel book and printed by Marvel, you're gonna have Spider-Man, Superman. Both books are independent of each other. They will be anthology based. It's basically a way of utilizing the best talent at that company to tell the best stories and interesting backup crossovers as well. As a comic store, there was definitely confusion over Batman Deadpool for the casual audience. Comic fans, no problem. They're used to how the industry works. But we had people coming in the November when Batman Deadpool came out, which was 2 months after Deadpool Batman. And they were just like, oh, I've already got this. And you kind of had to explain it all and that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you kind of got to get ahead of it a little bit. But looking at the DC side of things here, this is an absolute murder's row of talent. This one-shot anthology with different stories, as I say, is going to be written by Mark Waid, Tom Keane, Matt Fraction, Sean Murphy, Gil Simone, Christopher Priest, Greg Rucka, and Jeff Lemire. And art is going to be Jorge Jimenez, Jim Lee. Jim, get back to your drawing board for Batman Hush 2 finale, please. Steve Leiber, Sean Murphy, Belen Ortega, Daniel Samper, Nicholas Scott, and Rafa Sandoval.
Wow.
That is a absolute cavalcade of talent. And what's cool about this one is that they're going to be focusing on auxiliary characters in the Superman and Spider-Man universe, which I love the sound of. So, Last Son of Krypton meets your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. When journalists Clark Kent and Peter Parker find themselves chasing the same story, the conspiracy they uncover could change the world, especially if Brainiac and Doc Ock could have anything to say about it. And we bet they do. Good thing our intrepid newshounds are secretly Superman and the Amazing Spider-Man, brought to you by the legendary storytellers Mark Waid and Jorge Jimenez.
Now,
And don't miss.
I wonder, sorry to interrupt you, whether or not, because obviously we've just read the original, I wonder will they remember meeting each other? I wonder will it be almost a continuation,
Yeah, that would be a cool
or will
idea,
it
actually.
be, you know,
Or is it going to
cool.
be a whole new first meeting all over
Yeah,
again?
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to the bonus stories here, so you've got Tom Keane and Jim Lee telling a tale of Lois Lane and Mary Jane Watson. Matt Fraction and Steve Leiber revisit Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. That sells it on its own.
Yep.
And Carnage. Sean Murphy, meanwhile, takes us to the future with Superboy and Spider-Man 2099. They're speaking
Oof.
Keith's language here.
Yep.
Gail Simone teams up with Belen Ortega for a look at what happens when Power Girl meets Punisher. Neil, you're sorted. Christopher Priest and Daniel Sampers show us a time when Superboy Prime, who reads all the comics, decided to visit Spider-Man right after he got the black suit. Greg Rucka and Nicholas Scott take us on an exciting race between the Daily Planet and the Daily Bugle. Plus, we finally get an answer to the age-old question of who would win in a fair fight, Pa Kent or Uncle Ben. Just kidding, those guys are too nice to fight each other. But Jeff Lemire and Rafa Sandoval will take us deep into their past to see the two men bond in the face of adversity.
Ah, lovely.
Celebrate 50 years of DC Marvel crossovers with 8 new original stories by some of DC's top talent. Comes in at the $7.99 price point, so it will be a £7 book. But that just sounds awesome. And the really, I would even say, even more so than Batman Deadpool, looking at that array of talent and the solicitations, I think this will actually be a better book.
I
Uh,
totally agree with you. That is strong, creator wise, character wise, match wise. Obviously, we know it works. I'm thinking Superboy Prime and Deadpool would have been a good crossover, both
mm,
characters who break the fourth wall.
yeah, sort of
But
fourth wall breakers.
yeah, certainly better than what
All
we got.
Already, there are tons of airing covers for this as well. Again, we will order a lot of them in, but if you have specific requests, do let us know. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see me holding up the book here. But already, the two top ones that I have been taking pre-orders for is Gabriel Dell'Otto, which there is Black Suit Superman, Black Suit Spider-Man, and the Jim Lee one, of course, because Jim Lee drawing Spider-Man and Superman is great on its own. But the pre-orders in this are already big. anyone who's on Batman Deadpool has already jumped on it, and then some. So I think this will actually be bigger than Batman Deadpool,
Mm.
just because comic fans really don't like Deadpool. It's all due
That's
respect. They just
you've hit
don't.
two
They
flagship
love
characters
the
there,
mo
like,
they
you know,
love the
so
movie version, but we're not going to get into that either.
yeah,
But
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
we'll spin around to the front of the book and DC Next Level. So, just to sort of summarize, there's a little bit of a editorial in here from Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson talking about it. But just very, very quickly, this line will launch similar to DC's Absolute line of comics, said Scott Snyder. The DC Next Level books are very new reader friendly and will roll out over time. Like the Absolute line, this is an initiative that welcomes new readers that are looking for a jumping on spot for DC's main line of comics. In March, the first month of DC Next Level, new series starring Lobo, Deathstroke, and Batwoman are three new books that stay true to the characters. We can't wait for you to see what's coming, and this is just the beginning. This is the second phase of what we've planned for DC All In. There's a legion of stories still to be told. So, as mentioned there are three books kicking off in March. Again, the pre-order is already strong for this. But just in case you don't know them, the first one is Lobo number one. The main man could have a big year in comics and in pop culture. Obviously, the character's confirmed to be in the Supergirl movie, so that might bring a whole new legion of fans to the character. Very much a character of the 90s, Lobo. It's been one of those characters that's maybe they've struggled to fit into a modern setting. They even tried emo Lobo for a while. I don't know if you remember that book. Towards the end of New 52, it was
Mm,
pretty
yeah.
dreadful. But this is written by Scotty Young. Now, Scotty Young, of course, is known for his baby Marvel covers and all this kind of stuff. But Scotty Young has also written some brilliant books. Middle West is the first one that comes to mind straight away.
Mhm.
The Me You Love in the Dark, all these collaborations with Jorge Corona and so forth. And
Onion
who is his
Fairyland.
artist here? And who is his artist here?
Oh.
It's Jorge Corona.
Ah.
So this is kicking off with the number one. It's due out on the 4th of March. The main man's back, baby, and his ride is a motorcycle that moves at the speed of sound, but only if that sound is a ripping guitar solo. And you better hop on there before he leaves you in the dust with all the pastiches he's fragged for money or convenience. The Eisner nominated creative team that brought you a fantastic parable of adolescence in the Midwest, the story of an artist who embraces darkness a little too closely, and the tale of a young gunslinger. How could I forget about that also? With too much grit to stay buried, brings you a classic yarn spun in the star-kissed threads of the cosmic DC universe. It's a gut-soaked path from DCKO to the end of the universe, where Lobo is going to scratch his name and number in the source wall with a cool knife. Don't miss the mayhem, special guests, or tasty, tasty continuity. Don't you do it. So yeah, kicking off with the main cover, you've got a couple of variants in there. Jorge Corona doing a variant, Juan Ferreira, Liber Mayo. Uh, and it's what's really nice to see here as well is, and this is becoming not common enough in comics, but it's launching with a $4 price point, which you
Hmm.
don't get an awful lot of anymore. So yeah, pre-orders now are strong already. There's some nice preview sort of character design art in the DC Connect as well. So that is Lobo number one, but there are two other books to discuss.
There are indeed. Releasing March 18th, same as Lobo. We have Deathstroke the Terminator number one. One I know Stuart's very much looking forward to. The world's deadliest assassin hits the next level with Tony Fleeks and Carmine Giandomenico. Soldier turned superhuman assassin for hire, Slade Wilson has made hundreds of enemies in his day, and now one of them is taking his world apart piece by piece. The hit is out on Deathstroke as he evolves into his purest form, a Terminator out for revenge and ready to kill anyone who stands in his way. Prepare for brutal violence with over-the-top action and intrigue from the twisted mind of writer Tony Fleeks of Stray Dogs and Uncanny Valley, and pulse-pounding art by Carmine Di Giandomenico of Flash. DC's contract-killing boogeyman is back and bolder than ever. Again, great creative team, cool character. Looks like, from what I understand, largely sort of standalone. I think these three books are going to be largely standalone. So yeah, very much looking forward to this one. I'll certainly pick up the first issue, but with that creative team, how could it not be awesome?
Yeah,
The
Tony
odd,
Flex. I've mentioned it before. That Thing book he did for
yes,
the Thing
uh,
for Marvel was awesome. Really
yeah,
enjoyed that.
yeah, and I mean, Stray Dogs was phenomenal, and Canny Valley was phenomenal. Um,
But here
Great stuff.
comes the best creative team of the three books, I would venture.
Yeah, I would say you could be right, and that is releasing March 11th. Batwoman number one. Eisner Award winning Greg Rucka and visionary artist Danny bring on the next level for Batwoman. Batwoman, daughter, sister, soldier, hero. But since she was 10 years old, Kate Kane has lived in the shadow of a prophecy and the machinations of a religion devoted to the end of all things. How do you fight the devil when the devil is real? And how do you win? Acclaimed writer and co-creator of the modern Batwoman, Greg Rucka returns to the story of Kate Kane alongside visionary artist Danny for DC Next Level series that will redefine Batwoman and her mission for a new generation. So yeah, really stoked for that. Obviously that creative team, phenomenal. Great to see Greg Rucka back on the character that he created for the modern day. So very, very excited about that one too. So that'll be two number ones that I'll be picking up from DC, which is good because I've been shedding a lot of stuff of late. So it'd be nice to get something fresh on there.
Creating space.
Hmm.
March also sees the end of the aforementioned DCKO. Again, I've talked to people about this in story. I'm a bit event fatigued recently, but this has really rejuvenated me. I've really thoroughly enjoyed DCKO. Lots of big swings, lots of characters getting spotlights that maybe wouldn't necessarily normally get spotlights. I haven't read all of the tie-ins, but I've read a bunch of them and really enjoyed those as well. So I'll be sad to see it go, but at the same time, any good event knows when it's time to wrap up, and that's going to wrap up with issue 5. So, written by Scott Snyder, art by Javier Fernandez, the final battle for the heart of Apocalypse. What's good as well is that, and I've noticed that Snyder's talked about it recently. Obviously, trying to hide what's coming in the comics industry can be tricky sometimes, because especially for stores, solicitations, you got to get people hyped, this and that. But they've managed to avoid any specifics for this issue. So, in the melee that started with dozens of heroes and villains vying for their chance to win the ultimate power in the universe, now only one remains. But to truly be crowned the King Omega, you must battle more than the obstacles in your path. You must battle yourself. It's the finale to end all finales as the one true champion is crowned. The fate of all that lives hangs in the balance, and a shocking decision will bring the DC Universe to the next level. It's almost like next level. You see
Who
that?
do you think it's going to be? Who's your money on?
Superman. We would type more, but honestly, anything else is a spoiler, so sit up, get ready, leap into the final round. The only reason I say Superman is because Metal was written by Scott Snyder. That was a Batman event. Death Metal was a Wonder Woman heavy event. I think this is his Superman heavy event. So, but he may win the whole thing, but he's also involved in the best variant cover as Superman. Superman is suplexed like a little bitch by Batman. Look at that. Oh, gorgeous by Daniel Warren Johnson. Yeah, no DCKO. I've loved. I really have,
Mm.
and I didn't expect to. I think I spoke about it before, but I even got a digital preview and I read like the first 10 pages and went, "This isn't grabbing me." But when it came in print and it was an acetate cover, it felt like something special in your hands. And then I started reading it and I was like, "No, no, no. This is good. This is good."
Mm.
So
The
sorry
acetate
to see it
covers
go,
are
but ends well.
the acetate covers are a big 90s thing, but I honestly get the feeling that in 2026 DC is going full 90s. I don't know if it's a good choice or bad choice. Remains to be found out.
In what other sense do you think that?
Uh, well, the next book that I'm talking about is Green Lantern number 33, and that's the return of Kyle Rayner, who is, a big 90s head. And I'll highlight it as we go through this, but uh,
Interesting theory.
yeah, Jeremy Adams and Ron Mars on Green Lantern 33. Kyle Rayner leads the next chapter of the Green Lantern mythos starting here. So obviously a lot of our core books with this next level thing, with the post DCKO thing, are sort of starting new arcs or starting new creative teams, and we'll see that throughout the rest of the DC book. Celebrate 600 issues of Green Lantern with epic stories, legendary creators, and a new costume designed by superstar artist David Nakayama. In this special oversized 600th issue, Hal Jordan is tested as never before, and a new Lantern stands poised to step in should he fall. Hal embarks on a mysterious mission while Kyle Rayner finally moves back to Los Angeles and takes up the mantle of Green Lantern of Earth. Join Kyle as he finds a job, navigates traffic, and chases down escaped villains from Oa. All this, plus a host of legendary guest artists and writers from Lantern's past, and an answer to the question posed to Starfire in the last issue. So there's our first 90s hit. But I'll feed it to you as we come in. But the next one I know you're really, really looking forward to. It holds no
Oh
interest
yeah.
for me whatsoever.
Zero interest for you, I am sure. And I mean, you've already no interest, and then I say the word Steve and Orlando. But you're definitely not being convinced. But this is definitely a book aimed at me. There's plenty of guys in the store I know are going to love this as well. So anyone who knows me knows I'm a big wrestling fan. Love AEW wrestling. It's owned by Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers owns DC, so it's what other crossovers could they possibly do? So here we go. DC times AEW. Now, from what I understand, it's a very short miniseries. It's only a couple issues. I think it might even only be 2 issues, both of which are highlighted here. Written by Steve Orlando with art by Travis Mercer. Now, to his defense, I know Steve Orlando is a wrestling fan, so the depth of knowledge will be good here and everything else. But yeah, it just looks fun and something outside the norm of everything else DC's producing. The superstars of all elite wrestling explode out of the ring and into the DC universe. The intergalactic title is far more than a championship belt. The big galactic belt is made of pure element X, the most powerful metal in the universe. Ruptured in a post-match beatdown, the belt scatters across the DC universe, but every single shard is a weapon that can rewrite reality itself. With the world at stake, the Justice League teams with AEW's roster to crisscross the globe and recover the shards of the belt before DC's worst villains use them to turn our world into their deadly playground. It's the Justice League Elite as you've never seen them before, with Excalibur and Booster Gold calling the action. So Excalibur's one of the commentators, and it makes sense Booster Gold would do something like that as well. And then issue two has the solicitation of it's the most dangerous heel turn in history. As Injustice Incorporated is born, the big galactic belt rests on Lex Luthor's waist. With a snap, he can remix reality to his whim. With the Justice League and AEW's most iconic wrestlers spread across the globe, locked in battle with DC Universe's most notorious villains, it's a race against time to stop Lex before he locks in control of Earth. As the stakes skyrocket by the second, a challenge is issued for all its power. The big galactic belt is still a championship. Once called out, the owner has no choice but to defend it. The fate of reality comes down to a tornado tag match, the comically empowered Lex Luthor versus Wonder Woman and their tag team partners. Two of the most iconic faces to ever set foot in the squared circle. This just feed it into my veins. Yes, please.
So he's effectively taken the plot of DCKO, replacing the villains with wrestlers, and
Yeah,
job done. Okay, cool, cool, cool.
works for me. Works for me.
If you're happy, if you're happy.
But also
Um,
something I'm very happy about right now is the mainline Batman title.
oh man,
We
phenomenal.
obviously talk quite a bit about this at the moment about how maybe the outside title are maybe getting more love and more attention and more care. You know, Ultimate Spider-Man's making a bigger cultural impact at the moment than Amazing Spider-Man, Absolute Batman more than Batman. But the main Batman title, ever since Matt Fraction's taken over and Jorge Jimenez and art, it's climbing the charts. I mean,
Big style.
we've nearly 100 people on Batman now. And that's a massive testament to Matt Fraction's writing and Jorge Jimenez's art.
Hmm.
We were chatting very quickly about it in story history, but issue five was outstanding.
Yeah, yeah. It had everything. It was just great art for a start. Great characterization of Bruce Wayne specifically. A fantastic car chase, all action, and then a chase, an on foot chase sequence, and a wee bit of a fight sequence. It was pretty phenomenal stuff. Yeah.
And a great little sort of twist at the end to
Oh
go,
yeah,
oh,
absolutely.
and we'll look forward to
Yeah.
issue six. Well, the reason I'm bringing it up with this month is because Batman number seven launches, and that is going to be the kicking off of the second arc. So this will be one of those jumping on points for new readers. DC have been pretty good about reprints for Batman as well, similar to the Absolute line. So if you do want us to backtrace Batman, we should be able to, as long as you don't care too much about printings. But yeah, this will be a jumping on point, as I say. This features a gatefold sequence that takes you inside the mind of the Joker. This is the other reason I love Fraction as a writer. He likes playing with a medium quite a bit. You only need to read his Hawkeye run to know that. So, as Batman is beckoned to Arkham Towers by the mysterious man in Room 10, nothing will prepare him for who he finds there. Some might call him the Cape Crusader's arch nemesis, others might call him Batman's best friend. Everyone calls him the Joker. So, Fractions taking the Joker is definitely something to look forward to. So, again, that'll be a jumping on point if you are a new reader, and highly recommended. That series has been great.
But imagine a more traditional take on the Joker than the absolute take.
I would imagine so, but
Yeah.
looking at that cover, it does look quite creepy. Joker looking to be in some sort of cryogenic tank,
Yeah,
lots of
cool.
tubes coming out from him, looking a bit more like Brainiac than the Joker, I would venture.
Yeah, okay, fair. Um, Also released on March the 18th, we have Wonder Woman 31. I was a wee bit worried. I know Tom King was off this title for a couple of issues, and it is his baby, but I see that the team are back together of Tom King and Daniel Sampere on this. And the Wonder War begins. The matriarch commences her crusade to rule over the DC universe. As heroes and villains alike fall to her insurmountable power, Wonder Woman and her daughter Trinity must unite to save all that they hold dear. Time's up for the princesses of Themyscira, and the Queen of America will not rest until they bow to her will. So this is the most riveting installment of their Wonder Woman epic yet. There has been a little bit of teasing and rumors that this might be the big finale of King's Run on Wonder Woman. Um, uh, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, this was sort of teased at the end of the Mouse Man saga there. So looking forward to this for sure. Great team, great book.
Yeah, it'll be interesting that because I think Keane is slowly but surely becoming one of James Gunn's most trusted advisors at the moment when it comes to trying to reshape the live action DC universe. I mean, obviously there is Supergirl based on his book. There is Lanterns, which he's one of the showrunners on the TV show. There is an animated adaptation of Mr. Miracle coming. So maybe King's just busy with other things at the moment. So I mean, I would read 100 issues of his Wonder Woman, especially with Daniel Samper and art. I think
Hmm.
it's
Yep.
been great. The next issue you have me highlighted for this, but do you not want to continue your 90s theme?
Well, that's exactly. I know you're not a big Superman reader, are you? But yeah, releasing March 25th. Superman 36. The reign of the Superboys begins. Now, does that not sound slightly familiar to you?
A little bit.
Um, so after the shocking events of DCKO, Superman is missing, but one hero steps up to take his place, Superboy Prime. Normally, Prime has only been part of massive DC events, and now he gets a real shot at showing the world that he can be just as great a hero as Superman. Superstar artist Dan Mora returns to Superman for an action-packed, fun adventure that changes the face of the DC universe. Joshua Williamson in this, Dan Mora in art. Again, another big 90s throwback there. I
Not just
imagine we'll be seeing Connor Kent and our own John Kent and a few others, but Superboy Prime just leaks 90s as well from that, from a lot of that sort of stuff. So interesting one, and another 90s throwback there.
Yeah, the evidence is mounting up, mounting up. Another one definitely worth showcasing because I've had quite a few people asking me in the last week or two about Aquaman. A lot of that comes from the tie-ins to DCKO and specifically the one shot. Well, it was through the main Aquaman line, but they sort of like did the cover as part of the fight month, and it was Aquaman Hawkman, and it was a brilliant issue. And a lot of people after reading that have been like, where's a good place with Aquaman? Well, this is going to be your jumping on point here. I get the feeling, there's a lot of these are going to be jumping on points, as we've stated. It's like in the aftermath of DCKO, so that's good planning right there. Because if you've got a lot of people enjoying an event, you want to make it easy for them when it comes to the end of that event to start new stuff. So this is more good planning here. So
Mm.
it's Aquaman number 15, although it's coming with the subtitle of Emperor Aquaman, but
I
still retain.
believe I believe they are changing the title of Aquaman to Emperor Aquaman with number 15.
Well, this is the thing. They're obviously keeping the numbering going.
Yeah.
This is not Marvel. This is not Moon Knight, Mark Spector, and Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu, and etc., etc. So it's interesting again that this is some DC are continuing the number, but going with a new title. But yeah, jump into a fresh start. So again, there's your jumping on point for the
Hmm.
King of Atlantis and beyond. After the events of DCKO, Aquaman finds himself on a journey of self-discovery where he must launch a brand new mission imbued by Omega energy, the very essence of conquest. To reach across the stars with the power of the blue, Arkane must first defeat the Crimson Queen and free his friends and family from her evil clutches. What is Arthur's ominous connection to the Omega that threatened to tear apart the very fabric of reality in the KO tournament? Find out in this jumping on point. That
Hmm.
answers the question, what does it even mean to rule with absolute power? So Jeremy Adams continuing to write that. I've said it a couple of times. He's a little bit of a secret weapon,
Yep, an MVP. Yeah.
maybe a slightly unmined talent at DC at the moment, and art by John Timms. So that is your Aquaman jumping on point.
Yeah, great book. Aquaman has been very interesting since he took on Mira's part set.
Hmm.
So that's been a great book. So it has next up, Flash 31. We have Ryan North and Gavin Guidry beginning a new era for the Scarlet Speedster. This Scarlet Speedster is Wally West. Rather than the original Flash. Yeah, we bit of a 90s thing there as well. Wally West, father, husband, fastest man alive, and now with DCKO in the rearview mirror, Wally can finally relax and live his best life. Or can he? Because an awful lot of people are suddenly relying on the Flash to save them and intentionally putting themselves in danger to ensure that he does. Something sinister is happening behind the scenes, and Wally is right in the crosshairs. Also in this issue, shenanigans, science, and the debut of an all-new all-star creative team for the Scarlet Speedster. So another jumping on point there might be worth a wee look.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Again, that's it. Definitely does seem good planning here.
yeah.
Every solicitation seems to be in the aftermath or jumping on point, or so it's a good time for people to jump on these books.
Another jumping on point then is with Titans number 33. Who are the new Titans? After helping save the world from yet another world-ending event, the Titans have earned some much-deserved rest. Back in Titans Tower, they're glad to be reunited again, but it almost feels too good to be true. And are these Titans who they claim to be? And if they can't trust each other, can they even trust themselves? Tate Bromble and Sam Basri kick off a brand new era for the next generation of superheroes. So that'll be interesting. Looks like a bit of a change of lineup there with John Kent taking his place on the on the Titans there at least. I think Yara is in here as well from Wonder Woman and a few others by the looks of it. So changing up the team as well. I think Stephanie's in there as well. Batgirl, or what do you call her? Um,
Stephanie Brown. Spoiler.
yeah, spoiler. There you go. I think she's kicking off in there as well. So we'll see how that goes. I think this needed a wee bit of a change up as well. The Layman Titans really hasn't been quite doing it for me, I have to say.
Well, it makes sense Tip Rumble taking over and Cassandra Cain Batgirl being in there because he's been writing the Batgirl main series, which
Yeah,
has
makes
been
sense.
very
Makes
well
sense.
received. So yeah, that's it for single issues with DC. Just a couple of collected editions we wanted to throw a bit of attention towards. The first being The Batman Second Night, so written by Dan
Brilliant.
Jurgens and art by Mike Perkins. This, of course, is the sequel to the brilliant The Batman First Night.
Hmm.
So it's coming out in that deluxe hardcover format once again. The year is 1940, and most of the Western world is embroiled in a war against a fascist regime whose march across Europe shows no sign of defeat. This is a bit real worldy. With global war looming and a vicious killer on the loose, it's a time of fear and paranoia for those living in Gotham. It's only been a few months since the city was rescued from undead monsters by the masked vigilante known as the Batman, but a vicious killer has been on a murder spree that's taken the city to its breaking point. Bodies are turning up in theatrically gruesome ways, all staged with a killer's calling card, a hangman's noose. While the Batman endeavours to solve the spate of murders, a young reporter from the Daily Star, this is really real world,
Hmm.
named Lois Lane arrives in Gotham. Though she is meant to cover a movie premiere, it doesn't take long for Lane to find herself caught in the grips of a new villain in Gotham, one whose mastery of fear will plunge the city into chaos. The creative team of legendary writer Dan Jurgens and superstars Mike Perkins continue their pulp noir adventure of the Cape Crusader in the early years of his vigilante career. That is some good Batman storytelling right there.
Oh, the best in years, as far as I'm concerned. That second night stuff is absolutely phenomenal. So obviously we love the compact editions, and this will be another one that'll be joining the books on my shelf. Unfortunately, it is a pre-solicit for 5th of May, but it is Green Arrow Year One DC Compact Comics Edition, the story that defined Green Arrow by Andy Diggle and her pal Jock. Oliver Queen is a frivolous playboy with little care for anyone or anything, apparently even himself. But when he's double-crossed and marooned in a jungle island, he finds that he does care about something, justice. Armed with nothing more than a makeshift bow and arrows, Queen struggles to survive in this new, unforgiving environment, all the while battling violent drug runners who are responsible for his abandonment. Green Arrow Year One is the definitive origin story of everyone's favourite Emerald Archer, brought to you by the award-winning team behind the losers, right here, Andrew Diggle and Jock.
Yeah, great book that. So it is. I mean, DC try not to use the year one very liberally. They do tend to save it for special stories, and that is one of the best Green Arrow books you will read.
For sure.
One last one just for me, and that is the Zatanna by Paul Dini Omnibus. I love me some Zatanna. Written by Paul Dini, art by Stefan Roux, Joe Quinones, Cliff Chiang, and others. So this is going to be a 720-page bad boy. Plenty to sink your teeth into here. The Enchanting Satara was the hottest stage act in Las Vegas, and unlike the parlor tricks peddled by other would-be Houdinis, Satana's magic is no illusion, it's real. The dazzling mistress of magic can warp reality with just a few backwards words. But the supernatural is powerful, and in the wrong hands, it's deadly. So when mystical menaces start causing trouble, Z steps in to help to stop them, from the evil sorcerer Brother Knight to possessed puppets to nightmare demons. Not to mention a supernatural team up with the mistress of martial arts, Black Canary. Collects Black Canary and Zatanna, Bloodspell, Detective Comics 824, 833, 834, and 843 to 844, and then the Zatanna solo series 1 to 16, as well as a couple of other stories thrown in there as well. Has that glorious Adam Hughes cover that's become quite iconic as well. So that is definitely one for me.
Hmm.
So yeah, a pretty packed DC book this month. Lots of number ones, lots of jumping on points, and a couple of good collected editions there as well. And that takes us straight into Marvel, where again, there are plenty of number ones.
Absolutely. And the first of those number ones, again, a March 18th release, is in tandem with the new Disney Plus Marvel series, which I'm kind of looking forward to, certainly interested. And that is Wonder Man #1, lights, camera, superhero action. Simon Williams has had his ups and downs, from being manipulated into villainy by the Enchantress to being one of the brightest stars in the Avengers. But just like Hollywood, no matter how low the lows, Simon keeps fighting the good fight. But what happens when the past finally catches up with him? Enter Randolph Chancellor. Simon's former cellmate. A true love letter to LA, as well as the history of Wonder Man. Legendary artist Mark Buckingham joins Marvel mainstay Jerry Dugan on this one. So interesting, interesting. Wonder Man has never been a huge draw for me. There was, I mean, he was very much part of Mark Waid's Avengers back in the day.
Hmm.
Obviously it was much earlier than that, but he was spotlighted again in the Avengers by Mark Waid. So yeah, nice to see what happens here.
Nice. Well, one that's getting a little bit of extra love from us because this was originally in the previous previews book, although I believe
Hmm.
they put the release date back a couple of weeks, is Daredevil #1 by the team of Stephanie Phillips and Lee Garbett on art. And again, this just seems like a real return to the street level roots that Daredevil should be. So, sounds awesome. You can bury the bodies, but never the ghosts. Hell's Kitchen is full of secrets, but no secret stays buried for long. As a fearsome new supervillain named Omen has targeted Matt Murdock, it will be his alter ego Daredevil who takes the hits. But beware, this mysterious new player isn't all that they appear. A secret Daredevil will have to learn quickly as he scrambles to settle into a life and status quo we've never seen him in before. Look alive, Marvelites, an all new and unprecedented era of Daredevil starts here. What's great about this is again, with this being a fresh start for Daredevil, we're already seeing the pull list numbers go up on this. It's good to see support for the book. I've always been a big Daredevil fan, as you know. There was a few dissenting voices with Stephanie Phillips taking over because, troglodytes think that a woman can't write Daredevil, even though we will talk later about one of the best Daredevil runs, which was also written by a woman. But no, it's good to see the numbers are strong in this and some great variant covers. It is going to do the dreaded blind bag program that Keith loves so much as well.
Mm.
We'll get a few of those in.
Talking about the
But
90s. Jesus.
talking about the 90s indeed, what is old is new again. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. All the preview art so far has been great.
Okay. One that I'm excited about is the Sentry #1. He's been an Avenger, a Dark Avenger, and a Thunderbolt. The Sentry is back, but so is the Void. A lot of people have become much more familiar with the Sentry through the Thunderbolts movie, the new Avengers movie. But Paul Jenkins was the creator of the Sentry. Really interesting story. So, from creator Paul Jenkins comes a bold, high stakes epic about Marvel's most dangerous hero, the Sentry, a man with the power of a million exploding suns and the dark entity born from his own psyche, the Void. When the Void resurfaces, threatening to unravel reality itself, the Sentry must battle not only cosmic forces and criminal empires, but the monster within. Guest starring Reed Richards, Spider-Man, and the Kingpin in a tale of impossible choices and devastating consequences. Can the Sentry save everything when the final cost might be everything he loves? The artist is Christian Rosado, and there's a lovely Alex Maleev cover there. So I'm really excited about this one. And say just to see Paul Jenkins back on the Sentry. We had a brief chat with Paul Jenkins a couple of thought bubbles ago.
Hmm.
Well, certainly stopped by his table and had a wee chat to him. Great guy. But I think this is also sort of highlighting the Sentry because I think the Sentry is very much part of this upcoming Armageddon series. Um, Quick mention for Avengers 36. Jade McKay brings his run to a shocking end. 3 years of dark mysteries, epic quests, cosmic shattering battles come to a head in this giant size, can't miss final issue. Everything Jade McKay has built comes crashing down in this startling finale that will redefine the Avengers' future. So I'll be looking forward to that too.
Awesome. Well, just a couple of number ones just to throw out a bit of love for. One that is on our list and one that is not, but has definitely got my interest. So I will
Okay.
be chatting about it. And hopefully they're both on the same double page spread. So the first one being Fantastic Four First Foes. Keith had mentioned in the intro about Fantastic Four First Steps. They did a little one-shot comic set in the world of the movie. They're now doing another one here. So from the world of the cinematic masterpiece is stretching it a little bit, if you ask me, but that's another conversation. There's our friend Mark Buckingham on art again,
Hmm.
and written by Dan Slott. So, from the world of Fantastic Four, Return to the universe of the legendary film, they're really going over the top here, Keith. Why would these comic companies do this?
I
In the
do not know.
But this is the first in a series of specials on Earth 828. A cosmic mishap has transformed four brave astronauts into the world's champions and protectors. They are the Fantastic Four, but one person isn't happy about things. He's known as the Mad Thinker, and he's determined to get his proper due by turning the city of tomorrow against its heroic patrons. So that's a one shot. The one that wasn't on our list, which I can't believe I didn't put it down because this is a very welcome return, is Alias Red Band number
Mm-hmm.
one.
Yep.
Quite surprising it's not written by Bendis, I must admit, because he's just returned to Marvel. It's actually written by Sam Humphries and art by Geraldo Borges. The Return of Jessica Jones. A series of grisly murders in Hell's Kitchen pulls Jessica Jones into a mystery more sinister than she could have imagined. As the wife of Mayor Luke Cage, she'll have to tread carefully as she forms a dangerous alliance with Typhoid Mary to track down the killer. But as she delves deeper into Hell's Kitchen's dark underbelly, the evidence she finds presents more questions than answers. Follow the mystery in an all-new Red Band miniseries written by Sam Humphries, New Avengers legendary Star-Lord, and drawn by Geraldo Borges, Thunderbolts, celebrating the 25th anniversary of Alias. How time flies.
Oh wow. Yeah, 100%. All right then. So we have an X-Men number one with X-Men United number one. Welcome to Grey Matter. That's Grey Matter rather than Grey Malkin Lane. So welcome to Grey Matter Lane. Learn to survive the experience. Build a school, Charles Xavier told them, and the X-Men have done so, but in a manner nobody saw coming. Welcome to Grey Matter Lane, a place where mutants anywhere in the world can come together in unity to teach one another skills needed for their survival, with instructors including Wolverine, Beast, Prodigy, Magneto, and more, and a campus unlike any before seen. It's the crossroads of the X universe as a student body from across the globe works to take mutant kind to the next step of their evolution and to cope with the brewing threat to all of their number. So, Eva Ewing is the writer in this. Tiago Palma is the artist. Cover there by Stefano Caselli. Interesting. I wonder, is this the new direction for X-Men? Back at A school, if not the school. I notice they don't mention Cyclops there. Rumors that Cyclops is in fact against the formation of the school, given that it's Xavier's dream, and he and Xavier haven't seen eye to eye for a long time. But I'll certainly get the first couple of these, see what the crack is. Wonder how it'll work with the other two X books. If they're eventually going to come to an end, or I just don't know. So let's see what the crack is. Just we keep trying, and I just keep hanging on, hoping for the best.
Eternal
Uh,
optimist when it comes to the X-Men.
yeah, absolutely. There's a bunch of, again, Marvel just don't learn when it comes to the X titles. What I'd really like them to see is just to get the core right and then worry about everything else after it. But we've got a Moonstar one launching. We're at issue 2 of Generation X 23, Cyclops 2, which I'm looking forward to, Magic and Colossus number 2, Rogue number 3, Wade Wilson number 2, Storm number 2, and Inglorious X-Force, the first issue of which came out this week. So I'm looking forward to having a look at that. But Uncanny X-Men 25 is a special anniversary issue. As battle spreads across the globe, as the Uncanny X-Men face the Legion of Monsters, Frankenstein's monster, Werewolf by Night, the Amphibian, the Living Mummy, and many more as the team fights to save the souls of two X-Men. This sounds a wee bit more like a Halloween issue. But yeah, I think it's a giant size issue anyway.
Well, just a quick shout out, just similar to what you're saying there to Stuart, as he was coming into the store as I was leaving today, and he had picked up his pools and he was just about to pay for it, and he sort of walked over slowly to the racks, lifted Inglorious X-Force number one, walked back to the counter and was like, "You've hurt me so many times, but what's one more?" And set that down. And he's a bit like yourself. He's desperate for a good X-Force title, so he's definitely picked up number one. And Chris said, "Oh, do you want me to put in your post?" Like, no, 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 let's not go too far. But let's see what number
Yeah,
one's like.
yeah. I mean, it was interesting. I was sort of half ready this week to take Uncanny X-Men off my list. Going okay, that's enough. And then I
Hmm.
read last week's Uncanny X-Men, and I was like, damn, that was good. So stay of execution there.
Every time you think you're out, they pull you back in.
Hmm.
So yeah, flicking through the book here, plenty of titles ongoing. The Ultimate Universe, as Keith had mentioned, we'll not spend too much time on that, as obviously it is coming towards its conclusion, though not quite yet. There is still one more issue of Endgame to come out after the end of this. But a number one worth looking at is Imperial Guardians. Obviously we had Imperial recently, the Jonathan Hickman penned event, and we're starting to see a little bit more of the cosmic side of Marvel.
I mean, I
So
gotta
with
say, I'm on Nova Centurion and Planet She-Hulk. Nova Centurion in particular is great by Jed McKay. Very, very good
Mhm,
spin out from Imperial. Planet She-Hulk, which I think is more of a mini. I'm really enjoying it. I love She-Hulk as a character.
mhm.
So very, very cool stuff. But really looking forward to this one because Dan Abnett on Cosmic stuff.
Yeah, so Dan Abnett and Cosmic Stuff's always a winner. You've got Marcello Ferreira on art. Imperial Gardens #1, Gamora, Captain Marvel, Amadeus Cho, Darkhawk, Cosmic Ghost Rider. There's your favorite character.
You
Second
can
favorite Marvel character after Deadpool.
you can keep Cosmic Ghost Rider, but Darkhawk is one of my favorite characters. So yeah, again, 90s.
There's a young man in our store I will have to introduce you to because he thinks he's the only Darkhawk fan in the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oh, he's got every single issue. He managed to plug the gaps with some stuff in the back bays. But anytime he sees a Darkhawk and an upcoming book, he gets very excited. So I'll
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
introduce you.
Sure thing.
Five unlikely operatives recruited by Maximus of the Inhumans. Their mission: protect the delicate balance of New Galactic Union by any means necessary, and failure is not an option. Expendable, deniable, and disavowed, they are the impossible mission. They are the Imperial Guardians. That was just a wee Mission Impossible joke. Apologies. But can they do Maximus's dirty work and keep their conscience clean? Why has a Kree Grand Admiral gone rogue and attacked Hala? What's going on with Darkhawk's mind? What deluded fool thought Cosmic Ghost Rider was a team player? And most importantly, what kind of game is Maximus really playing? So, assuming that's going to kick off a series, normally they would specify one shot at the bottom.
I
So,
think it is a series, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so it's nice to see more cosmic stuff. That's stuff I'm a fan of. I must really catch up on Nova Centra, and I've been collecting it because Vicky actually has every Nova issue from the very start
Oh, cool.
in the collection. So I have been collecting, I just haven't jumped into it. So
It's very,
on
very
your
good.
kind words
Yeah.
about it, I shall make a point of doing so.
Cool. I mentioned here X-Men Annual #1, which is released March the 4th, because apparently it's Ryan Stegman's last work on the X-Men for the foreseeable future. He's the writer on this, with Sanford Green as the artist. When an all-new mutant menace known as the Creationist forces four artists to visualize monsters that tear through reality, the X-Men must survive an attack where imagination itself becomes the enemy. Now they have to stop the Creationist before his nightmare visions consume the world in an epic issue featuring several superstar guest artists.
Nice. Well, just a couple more from Marvel, and again, I'm going off script again because you can tell I didn't flick through the Marvel book before we wrote our script because I thought Keith would have everything covered. But no, this is very much in my wheelhouse. And just as we're talking about, obviously the greatness of the cosmic side of the Marvel universe, and this is an idea. Like I've said this a few times that this would be just a way to print money, is to do facsimile runs of early Marvel and DC books from #1. So
Yeah,
what
yeah.
they're doing is they're going to reprint the first 7 issues of Silver Surfer.
Oh.
So you're getting the facsimile edition, you're getting sequential storytelling, you're getting that early, John Buscema art, you're getting, the Stan Lee scripts. So Silver Surfer #1 is going to launch in March, and then yeah, you're going to get a new issue each month. So the Sentinel of the Spaceway's classic origin story, the Silver Surfer, former Herald of Galactus, had captivated readers of Fantastic Four and established himself as one of Stan Lee's favorite Marvel comic characters. And so in 1968, Lee united with legendary artist John Buscema to spin new tales of the Surfer in his very own series. Trapped on Earth, the ever-reflective surfer ponders his fate in life, and his thoughts wander back to his days as scientist Norrin Rad on his home planet of Zenla. Discover how and why he sacrificed everything, including his future with his great love, Shalabal, to serve the world leader. It's one of the all-time great Marvel comic books, boldly represented in its original form, ads and all. Reprinting Silver Surfer #1. And Marvel is reprinting the groundbreaking first 7 issues of Silver Surfer as they originally appeared. So, I would imagine quite a few guys will jump on that. Well, I'll talk them into it at the very least. I'm actually going to recommend a Star Wars book. It does happen from time to time, and it's usually to do with the prequels, which is hilarious given the amount of flack the prequels got over the years. But I'm a big fan of the prequels, and Jedi Knight I thought was a really fun book. And now we have Star Wars Shadow of Maul #1. #1 of 5, Benjamin Percy writing. There's a
hmm
green flag straight away. The artist I haven't heard of is Madabek Musabekov.
hmm
A pulpy, they're saying the right words already, a pulpy,
hmm
exciting prequel series set before the events of the upcoming Disney Plus show. Welcome to Yannix, a neon-lit, shadow-soaked maze of a planet that lies beyond the reach of the Empire. Captain Brender Lawson is doing his best to navigate the law in a lawless territory. He's joined by his partner, a droid named Two Boots, as they face off against scheming crime bosses and the looming threat of the Shadow Lord Maul nears. So yeah, that would be one I will jump on. As I say, expanding the prequel lore, I'm always a fan of.
Yeah. I think the best stuff in Star Wars is happening in comics at the minute. I mean, I don't know what this new show is going to be like, but certainly the trailer for The Mandalorian Grogu didn't do anything for me there last week. And I've just finished Legends of Vader, Kylo Ren book there by Charles Soule, I
Legacy.
think. Yeah, it was brilliant. It was really, really good for a character who's a bit of a wet blanket.
Yeah.
Who did nothing for me in those three movies at all. It
I
was a
remember your
really good,
hesitancy just for that reason. You were sort of
yeah,
like, it doesn't really matter who the creative team, it's a character you're not interested in,
yeah, exactly. So good book, good book.
but clearly you
Anyway,
were there to be to have your mind changed.
exactly.
And one very last one from me when it comes to Marvel, and we're into the omnibus section. And anybody who knows me knows there is a ridiculous Daredevil collection of omnibuses over there, and this is one that will slot perfectly in, and that is the Daredevil by Ann Nocenti and John Romita Jr. Omnibus Volume 2. Now, the other reason I'm highlighting this as well is because the first volume of this came out last year, and this was a run that people have been dying for ages. It was not in print. It wasn't in the Epic collections, and the likes of sort of Chip Zdarsky was championing Ann Nocenti, saying like this is the best run of Daredevil. This is the most, the most freedom of storytelling in Daredevil, etc., etc. So when the first volume came out, it sold out. It sold through its print run within a month. So it's just a case of if you're interested in this, this is where pre-orders do matter. It is an advanced solicit. It's not until July 2026. I'll order a good few copies in, but as I say, it went really quickly last time. So, written by Ann Nocenti, as well as Jerry Conway, Gregory Wright, Steve Little, and more. Penciled by John Romita Jr., Rick Leonardi, Mark Bagley, Lee Weeks, Greg Capullo. Listen to those artists.
Hmm.
Greg Capullo, Kieran Dwyer, Cam Kennedy, James Fry, Steve Light, and more. Covers by John Romita Jr. and Mark Bagley. Uh, I'm usually a Bagley guy, but I think for this run it would have to be Romita Jr. All
Fair.
hell breaks loose in the thrilling conclusion of Ann Nocenti and John Romita Jr.'s highly influential run. Daredevil has his hands full battling evil mutants, Blob and Pyro, tangling with the Inhumans, and fighting way out of his weight class against Ultron. But his team up with Spider-Man against the terrifying menace Blackheart leads the man without fear into hellish, unfamiliar territory and sets him on a path for a confrontation with Blackheart's pernicious parent, none other than Mephisto. Forced to face his demons like never before, Matt will be Daredevil no more, so who's swinging around town in the red suit, committing vicious crimes with pinpoint accuracy? Meanwhile, the Kingpin sets his sight on building a media empire. Can the real Daredevil be reborn in time to administer the last rites to Wilson Fisk's reign of terror? Plus, Typhoid Mary blazes a trail into the lives of Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Ghost Rider. It just sounds like all-out madness with some of those
Hmm.
characters involved with
Oh,
that.
phenomenal stuff.
Uh,
Phenomenal
col-
stuff.
Collecting Daredevil 267 to 291 and the annual 5 and 6, as well as spectacular Spider-Man issues and material from Marvel Comics Presents. That's a weighty tome at 992 pages, but it is
Oof.
992 pages of epic goodness.
Brilliant.
And that'll wrap up the Marvel section. So
Yep.
let's look at this lightweight
Very
independent
light,
section.
only 4 or 5 books. So we'll quickly pop into IDW, and once you get through the raft of Godzilla books, we finally get to one that I'm really looking forward to. A new ongoing, by the looks of it, The Rocketeer IDW Classics #1. IDW is serving Rocketeer stories from some of the greatest talents in comics. Dave Stevens, creator of The Rocketeer, Tom Taylor of Nightwing and Detective Comics, and Colin Wilson of Judge Dredd. Darwin Cook, Parker, DC The New Frontier. Robert Wyndham, Seven Sons, and Jay Lee in Humans, Batman and Superman take the Rocketeer on adventures all over the world. From his first flight to the right lines of World War II, this is only the tip of the iceberg. Fantastic stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that. Sign me up. And that cover is a good part of the poster that I picked up at the last Thought Bubble.
Yeah, I know anything Rocketeer wise, you are there. There's just certain soft spots we have in our collecting and fandom that you just have to say a title, and we're pretty much there. Uh,
Absolutely.
when it comes to the image section, I must be honest, there's not a lot of new books that have caught my eye. There's lots of great ongoing stuff. But something I wanted to point out, because I know we have quite a few fans in store. Image are going quite big in the Invincible universe with facsimile reprints of important issues this month. So you're going to have Invincible #1 foil edition. So obviously Invincible from the very beginning, back when it was Robert Kirkman and Corey Walker on art. So if you want to see where Invincible all began without spending £1,000 on the single issue, first print, you can do it at a much more affordable price. They're also going to be reprinting Invincible Returns #1 facsimile. So this was almost like a catch-up issue, wasn't it? This was preparing people for the Viltrumite War, which
Hmm.
started in Invincible 71. This was a
Hmm.
special self-contained issue which will bring readers old and new up to speed with everyone's favorite superhero comic. And the last one that they're doing a facsimile for, and this is bound to be popular, they recently did the Invincible Universe Battle Beast blind bags, and one of the issues you could pull was the Marvel Team Up #14 facsimile, which was Invincible teaming up with Spider-Man. Well, they're now making it available for general sale. There are going to be, of course, there are going to be six variants for it. Why, I don't know. Not that I can complain about variants, I'm a bit of a hypocrite there, but this is the historic first meeting of Invincible and Spider-Man, one of the most demanded comics of the modern era, is available again. So I know people will be definitely jumping onto those books. But we did manage to find one or two other things in Image.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Believe you
mean,
dipped in the Energon for a little bit.
I did indeed. I did indeed. And I mean, I should say that, I mean, while there's not a raft of stuff that we're talking about because there's not a lot of jumping on points, there's so much cool stuff continuing. Exquisite Corpse is amazing. Dust to Dust is coming to an end this week. Uh, Die Loaded is phenomenal. Department of Truth still great. All of that good stuff. Blood and Thunder, everything else. But we just haven't mentioned it because they're right in the middle of runs or whatever else. But G.I. Joe number 20 is one that's worth mentioning because Optimus Prime and Duke meet for the first time. What else is there to say? And what
Yeah.
does this mean for the future of the Energon universe? Cool
And
stuff.
just look at that glorious cover by Tom Riley,
Hmm.
with Duke with Optimus peering over his shoulder.
Yeah,
One other one
absolutely
I just
fantastic.
wanted to mention is an independent book last year that came out that would be up there, possibly my favorite independent book of last year, and that is Rick Remender and Daniel Acuna's Escape. It's a wartime book. This is going to be the first six issues collected. Shot down, hunted, out of time, set in a brutal, fully painted world of anthropomorphic animals, equal parts Inglorious Bastards and Watership Down. Escape is a gritty, bullet-riddled journey through war-scorched aftermath. It's about the violence we inflict, the souls we try to save, and the courage it takes to crawl out of the fire. Yeah, a lot of this book is written with a lot of Remender's own personal experiences from stories his grandfather told him during the war.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Um, there's a great depth to this book, and it's kind of funny because I remember him chatting about it and saying like the reason they made them anthropomorphic animals who like talk and act like humans on Earth is because people are sadder when animals die than they are when humans die. So,
It's funny. I was Bruna and I were talking about this last night. She's been reading Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees,
mhm.
and she's finding it absolutely terrifying. And she's not sure whether or not the fact that it's anthropomorphic animals makes it more terrifying or less terrifying.
More terrifying. But
I'd
great
say
book,
so.
and shout out to Bruno for reading such a great book. I love that book.
Absolutely. So Dynamite. We've got Thundercats number 25 releasing on the 25th of March. Thundercats at the Crossroads. Ever since he fled the destruction of his homeworld, Lion-O has wondered about Thundera's history and his place in it, and how he could measure up against those who preceded him in the royal line. Now, after 2 years and countless adventures in Third Earth and beyond, the young leader of the Thundercats is about to learn the long-hidden secret of Thundera's origin, and the shocking truth that is revealed could tear the Thundercats apart. In this milestone 25th issue of their acclaimed series, author Declan Shalvey and artist Drew Moss bring an epic story arc to a close while also opening a new chapter in an even larger tale, an event expanded upon in this month's Thundercats times Silverhawks Road to War one shot, featuring suitably celebratory coverage from Shalvey, Lucio Perillo, Jay Lee, and Jun Chung, and Emilio Pilu. Thundercats 25 also includes a special premium mystery of Thundera blind bag. The premium blind bag contains 3 limited editions of the one shot, selected randomly from a range of covers exclusive to this offering, including blah blah blah. Um, so is this the final episode issue of Thundercats or
I think Deck might be stepping away after this, so if it is going to continue, it'll be a new creative team.
right?
But you had mentioned there Thundercats Silverhawks Road to War. There is a one shot out this month as well. The countdown to catastrophe begins in this special 40-page one shot. Acclaimed author Ed Brisson and artists Alain Tomasi and Alice Leclerc bring readers 3 special tales that set the stage for a cataclysmic crossover event to come. And that's going to have stories set in the past, the present, and the future. So if you're into your Thundercats, I would imagine this would definitely be one to pick up for what's going to come next. It certainly wouldn't
Interesting.
it certainly wouldn't surprise me if Ed Brisson took over the book because he has done quite a lot of the Thundercats, either
Yeah.
minis or one shots.
The Thundercat, he just did Thundercats Lost, and that just finished. And this, Thundercats Lost finished with the Lost team in the world of the Silverhawks. Now, I have no knowledge or interest in the Silverhawks, so
Yeah,
I'm not interested really in picking this up at all. But if Ed Brisson was taking over Thundercats, the core series, I
you're really
certainly
selling it,
would.
Keith. You're really selling it. You're really selling
Yeah,
it.
it's but yeah, we'll see what happens. If if this is the continuation, if the continuation of Thundercats is just Thundercats Silverhawks, I think that might be a wee misstep. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what
We'll
happens.
see what
We'll
happens.
know the month after.
Well,
Um,
I'll leave you to take the final word, and of course, it's one of our favorite characters being the final word.
Of course, and we mention it because it's a new Conan story arc, continuing with an epic 30th issue. So Conan the Barbarian number 30. A deadly new foe hunts Conan the Barbarian, tracking his spirit wherever he travels. A killer with a keen blade in hand and teeth from old prey strung around his neck. The cult of the Blackstone wants revenge against the Cimmerian, and the Son of the Tooth is their weapon of choice. By Jim Zug, artist Doug Braithwaite. It's Conan. What else need we say?
Absolutely nothing. Yeah, I mean the latest for volume of Conan came out this week in trade paperback. All the trades are in store, so if you need to catch up, we can certainly help you with that as well. So, but yeah, that's going to bring to an end our preview show for this month. The final order cutoff is actually the end of January, but of course we can still up our orders right until the end of February. So if any books catch your eye, just get in touch. Drop us an email, call in the store, whatever suits, and we can get those added to your pull list. So, as ever, it was a pleasure going through the books with you, sir.
Yeah.
The wallet hurts a little bit, but not as bad as it has other months.
No, totally agree. Good to be back at it, for sure. As we hit January. So yeah, nice one. Nice one.
Excellent. Hope you guys enjoyed this as ever, and hope to see you in the store soon.